Take about 30 more seconds to pull out those sheets and get in front of the room. Alright, let's start. So we're going to do a lot of reading today, in terms of talking, and a lot of writing to make sure that we understand what we're talking about in her book. As you all know by this time now, it's a very complex text we're all going through. And all right, today you should be able to understand chapter 2 at least in its entirety. Alright, we're going to read first the first two paragraphs in this chapter, and we're going to annotate and review what's happening in this text. As we're going around the room, I will see many people have annotated, as you probably should do, because it's very complex stuff, so we're going to do it today. May I please have someone raise your hand and begin to read the first paragraph of this chapter. Who wants to read that? I'll call on you. Thank you so much, Mary. Go ahead and go.
The concept of identity is a complex one shaped by individual characteristics, national dynamics, historical factors, and social and political context. Who am I? The answer depends in large part on who the world around me says I am. Who my parents say I am. Who my peers say I am. What message is reflected back to me in the faces and voices of my teachers, my neighbors, stores credit to what do I learn from the media about myself? How am I represented in the cultural image around me? Or am I missing from the picture altogether? As social scientist Charles Cooley pointed out long ago, other people are the mirror in which we see ourselves.
All right, great job reading that. So now go ahead, please, those that have not annotated yet. Read again if you need to, and annotate that paragraph. You have 2 minutes, go ahead and go. All right, put your foot down, please, and shoes on. Yes. Bring it home. About a minute and 5 seconds left on annotating that first paragraph. Thank you, China, for annotating the whole paragraph. The whole thing highlighted. All right, time is up with that. You're now done annotating there. Please finish up real quickly. We'll be doing a share out. All right, first paragraph. Now, please, someone give me what is your summary of that first paragraph. What is happening there? Someone please share out what you got. Raise your hand when you have it. Thanks, Miracle. Go ahead and go.
I say basically, are you who someone else say you are?
Okay. Let's look at the title of this chapter. It is called what? The what again? What complexity mean? Marquise, what does it mean?
It's like
Is what does the word complexity mean?
me.
Yeah, you.
It's like difficulty or challenge.
What?
It's like difficult or challenge.
All right, what does the word mean?
It's like different, very like specific, kind of.
I'm not sure what's happening with this honest classroom, but I'm gonna tell you about the co-taught in a minute. What does the word complexity mean? You were right, Arquise. Somebody, what does the word mean? Someone else.
See, I was gonna say it, but you
What does the
said-
word mean?
What does the word mean?
Honest
That's
class.
correct.
What does it mean, Joe Bed?
An historical factor.
An historical factor. What does the word complexity mean?
How hard?
What does it mean?
Yeah, like how hard
Thanks a lot. Was that hard? Like, what's up, John, today?
He just said that.
No, he was right. I want you guys also to figure out what it means as well, your own responses.
That's what we
It does
said
not
something
mean
different.
what you just said.
We said something
So,
different.
as you're talking about this today, it might be a little challenging and you're thinking about your identity, but please try to bet you can be patient when going with this. Please. You didn't hear what I just said, you can be quiet. I know I said he did a good job. I wasn't supposed to talk about it. So,
Okay,
be
that's what I'm
quiet.
saying.
Quiet.
Okay, alright.
All right, next paragraph. Who wants to read that out loud again to the whole entire class? Go ahead, thank you.
What it mean?
Yeah, Eric.
This looking glass self is not a flat one, dimensional reflection, but multi-dimensional.
All right, pause right there, please. So I'm going to show on the board visually using some math stuff a little bit to make sure we get this point of how your identity isn't just one-dimensional or two-dimensional for the most part. So those that have math right and know some math, I did geometry back when I was in high school 10 years ago, whatever. What kind of surface is this right here?
A flat.
What is it called if it's flat like this?
One dimensional.
Is that one or two-dimensional?
One. It's one. It's two dimensional.
I think it's two-dimensional.
It's two. It's two.
So in this surface here, you have, of course, the length and the width. You go over here, talking about, again, identity, how to relate this to, like, more visual stuff. What kind of surface is this, and what kind of cube is this? 3D, right? You have the length right here, you have the width, and what's the last part you have as well? You have the height. So I'm thinking about your identity in this unit, in this paragraph, in your work today. Think about it in this kind of way, if you're like a math person, that you're not just like a two-dimensional person, you're kind of multi-dimensional, as you said in the text. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all know math, right? Mr. Neely, geometry? I hope so. You don't know geometry, Trey? You got an F in Mr. Neely's class?
No.
All right, keep going, please, Eric. Read the next part.
Because the focus of the book is racial identity in the United States, race is highlighted in these pages. Yet, how one's racial identity and experience will be mediated by other dimensions of oneself.
All right, pause right there and read again, please, Eric, the same sentence.
The whole thing was,
Just that sentence there says,
yet,
yep.
how one's racial identity and experience will be mediated by other dimensions of oneself. Male or female, young or old, wealthy, middle class, is that class?
Mhm.
Wealthy, middle class, or poor, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or heterosexual, able-bodied, or with disabilities, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, I can't see that.
Buddhist.
Hindu, or atheist.
All right, thanks a lot, Eric, for reading that. And again, it's Buddhist, not booty, it's Buddhist. Okay? All right, take again a minute, please. I think some of you have already written down your annotations there. Please annotate that paragraph in 1 minute, please. You got that one, he's not. All right, about 30 seconds left. All right, time is up for that. I'm gonna do this for a reason so we can make sure that when you do work today, you know what's happening in the paragraph. Please summarize the second paragraph in this, whatever it's called. Let's summarize the second paragraph. Raise your hand when you want to try it out. One main point or summarization. Go ahead, Ari, what you got?
You're not just like one single thing, like different things make you up.
Different things what?
Different things make you up.
Okay. I think it would help a lot to help understand this paragraph here is understanding this wording here called mediating. So in our worksheet now, go to that real quick. We have some work to do now when it comes to this paragraph. There are directions there. We're going to read and then we're going to do the first question here. In your groups, you will receive a couple of pages from the Tatum text and understand the meaning of it and analyze parts of it as well. You will be doing specific things on the first and second read through, so pay attention to the directions. Question 1, you do individually though. Read and annotate simply and complexly, as you already did, the first and second paragraph of chapter 2 on page 18. Answer the following questions. The first question is answered by yourself. In paragraph 2, what does the word mediated mean? So take about a minute and a half, please write down what does the word mediated mean. Context clues, prior knowledge, or etc. What does the word mean? 2 minutes, please. About 15 seconds left. All right, time is up with that. All right, now please turn to your partner or your group, please, and please share out with them what that word means. You got a minute, go. What does the word mean?
I said, mediate, or to be determined or classified by something.
You're almost on the right track. You're not defining it. You're kind of going with step ahead. You're kind of going with the. You're almost there. I hear what you're saying. But not what it means. But that same thought process, though. You have these questions, though. Use that same thought process. 30 seconds left. You know, I did a rap when I was a freshman. It was on marketing, stuff like that. It was called the anti-aliens. It was like, I guess my blind word, I used to be high, I'm sure I'm just going to be able to. This is like markers. All right, listen up, please. So I heard around the rooms, you guys had some very interesting responses to what the word actually meant. Let's do about 2 rounds of what the word do you think it is. Go, Eric, what you got?
Mediate means to determine or be defined by something.
To determine or be defined by something, okay? And let's go to Marquise and then China.
I think mediated means separated, divided, or distinguished.
Okay? And last person, China, what does the word mean you think it means?
I say like to be followed by a theory, a reflection, or determination.
Okay, interesting. Hear what the word means. In your sheet somewhere, write down the definition. It means simply to come to an agreement. Example, if I have 2 warring parties, for example, you got like China, you have like United States, who are about to war with each other. I'm in the middle, trying to mediate, trying to do what? Come to agreement. Stop fighting, no nuclear bombs, right, China? Go to nuclear bombs, right? No. Alright, Joe Band, what does the word mediate mean?
To come to an agreement?
China, what does it mean?
To come to an agreement.
The nation, what does it mean?
To come to an agreement.
Eric Patton, what does it mean? What does it mean, Eric?
Come to an agreement.
Whole class, what does it mean?
Come to an agreement.
So for today, please remember that that's what it means because you will need it for today. My example that I put down with this word. I mediated the fact that despite me being black racially and a man, I still realize, I should say I there, I will face oppression because I'm black. Let me read again. I mediated the fact that despite me being black racially and a man, I still realize I will face oppression because I'm black. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's go to this. What is this? That's not for y'all. All right, number 2 on this worksheet now. Read please, China, the question there.
Think critically. Your group answered the following question. Tatum said, yet how one racial identity is experienced will be mediated by other dimensions of oneself. Male, female, etc. With the definition of mediating being known now, explain what Tatum means by the quote and provide examples of how one's racial identity will be experienced and mediated from the other dimensions of self.
All right, thanks a lot for reading that. So now it's time to go back from last class. We went over this before. I'm going to do it again so you can have some context to answer your responses. There are 2 words here I want to help make sure we know how to define what they mean. The first word is called a hierarchy. What does the word mean, hierarchy?
To be
Raise your hand
higher
up what
up.
it means. Anari Williams.
That's like higher up people that are powerful.
Okay, you're on the right track. Put down somewhere in your notes levels of power or privilege. I'll put down power. It's a little bit easier to understand. Levels of power. This word here, dimension, what does that word mean here, dimension?
Like, yeah, like your opinion on yourself or
I'll take it. I'm trying to look at myself, make sure I get a better one from last period. I'll take what Eric said, the different perspectives, that's fine. For this, that was too long of a definition. Just carry that down. Who laughed like that? All right, so we have different identity markers that we talked about last class period. I'm gonna put some on the board. Let's do race, let's do sex, let's do wealth or money. Let's do sexuality, and let's do like language. All right, so this term here, hierarchy, means how people are placed in society for their power level. So racially speaking, in America specifically, what is the most highest one? Again, what is it? White for the most part. And number 2 should be who? Which race? Who? Black and probably Hispanic. I'll put down Hispanic as number 3 for the most part in America. All right, for your sex, what is the highest sex part of the hierarchy? It's male.
female,
Then females. And then who?
male, female.
Probably transgenders. So for the last class period, what does the word sex and gender mean? What is the difference between those two? Eric?
You said sex is like, what you really, like, what you want, like,
So, however, out please, you can, Miracle. What is the sex and gender?
You can act like a female or male, but you can't change your sex.
What is sex? What is it?
What you born with,
Okay, so be a man or female. What's gender?
how you act.
How you act or behave, exactly. That makes sense, y'all remember from last class?
Yeah.
Okay. Wealth, who has the highest high privilege and power? Rich people are being rich.
Oh.
And next who? Middle class and poor. Those who study sociology in college, this is a little more in-depth than this. They break this down a little further. You got working poor, you have working rich, etc. Some folks are actually working right now for rich in our term, but actually still broke. It's possible to be that way. All right, sexuality, who's the most highest when it comes to power in our society for our sexuality? Heterosexual. Number two is what? Homosexual. What does homo mean?
Saying,
Means the same. Calling somebody homo is not calling somebody gay. You're ignorant, you say that. It means the same. BCP is a homogeneous, race-based school. It means what? Everybody black up in here. Exactly. Let's do language. In USA, what's the highest like English? And what's next?
Spanish.
High Spanish.
Spanish. I'm Spanish.
By the time you have your kids, you ought to be learning Mandarin, not Spanish, because the Chinese taking over the whole world. Anyway, so we talked about this last time, but she mentions in her text as well that racially speaking is the most salient factor as far as your identity. You have sex, wealth, sexuality, etc. How can a person be privileged in their race, but not be in their sex, wealth, and etc.? Or what happens there? Why is your race the most salient factor compared to everything else? Why is that? Why is your race the most salient factor in your identity compared to you being male, being rich, or being anything else? Why is race there? According to Tatum or your own response to nature?
Because like you could be white, but you know you could be one of the lower dimensions, and you could have less power than somebody with all the higher.
Say it one more time if I can hear you. That was good.
You could be white, but you could still have some lower dimensions, and you could still have lower power than somebody with all the higher dimensions.
Great job. Who has more power example? We have a white female that's poor. We have a white female that's rich. Who is like on a higher pole? Who's more like more dominant? The white rich female. And we have, for example, a black, let's do male who's rich compared to let's do a white male that's poor. Who's more on top? Why so? Because he's white. What about race makes that like person more privileged? What about that?
I say like the black man part. Because if you got money, money is everything. And it's,
Is it really?
I'm not saying it's everything. I'm saying like it's. I'm
Can a
not.
person still be very wealthy but still experience like black racism?
I mean, you can still experience that, but you're still more powerful than him.
Explain your difference like the power.
Power, like you can make moves that he can't.
What kind of moves? Like
Like I mean, like moves like if he was applying for a job, I'm rich, so I could get that job more than you can. Like, cause I have like.
What about you applying for a job, right? Your name is like Anari, or your name is like some black urban name. Who getting that job for the most part, according to our rating last week?
The white
White person, right? So hold that thought because they're going to answer the question in our worksheet. That is, right, you got it. They're going to move on to that. So today, try the best you can to use this framework when trying to describe how a person might be privileged, right? In, for example, your sexuality, might be heterosexual, might be rich, but if you're Asian or you're black, how you stay on totem pole as far as your hierarchy? A little bit lower. If you're white, you are the highest as far as your hierarchy across the board. It don't matter if you are a female, you're rich, or you're a heterosexual, or etc. Race will all be going to say factor according to Tatum. All right, there's a question in our worksheet you're going to answer now. So using your text and using your stuff on the board, answer the question we have on this worksheet. Before you get there though, every class had a problem remembering the race model. Every time we do a worksheet, I want to see this being done. As a class, what does the R mean? We state what? All right, the question. What does the A mean? What parts of the question? All parts. For some reason already, maybe they forgot how to do it. I saw like one thing answered. I want the whole thing answered. What does C mean?
Cite the evidence.
Using what? Using what? Text. Using what?
Textual evidence.
The page number. Is that page number? That's not even page. That's the wrong way. Let's you're right. So PG, then numbers. All right. What does E mean?
Explain.
Explain what?
When you're
Explain what thoroughly, Ari? Explain what?
Your answer.
Using what?
Evidence.
Evidence from where?
Text.
Or what? What are the writing thing at? The writing thing. Who has that out right now? The writing model thing.
It say, explain,
Somebody help me out.
support answer next to,
Explain
evidence.
what the
your answer to next to another text.
Thank you so much. So if you need to use that today to remember how to do that, it's totally fine. I recommend putting the race model on your paper and check it off as you're writing it off. So let's take about last period. I'm in class 8 minutes for this one. 8 minutes to answer that question there, and we want to see who is close to the answer or not. I'm not sure mine. Yeah, I remember how to do this. Come here. Y'all still need this on the board? Y'all get this right. Who still needs this real quick? Everybody good? Okay, I'm going to erase it. I need this.
I still think that the black man rich.
Hold that thought because when we get done with this, we're going to answer this question. You can argue that in the next question.
So, yeah,
Not so far.
But I'm scared of
Right, this is right. People, you know, and
it's hard.
yeah, he used a different one now.
Right, exactly.
What about one to the mission?
You could cancel it.
All y'all ask y'all right.
You will not.
All right, let's go ahead and do a couple of Cheryl, please, this response here. I'm gonna do 2 and then Cheryl what I put down. And then go back and change yours. We'll see mine. All right, fire it up, please, in here. Go ahead, Janasia.
With the definition of community being on Tatum means a person's racial identity can agree or connect to dimensions of self. Somebody with a higher dimension, such as race, can still hold more power than somebody of lower dimension. On page 2, Tatum says the dominant group holds the power and authority in society relative to the subordinates and determines how that power and authority may be acceptably used. Race is a dominant dimension of self, so a white person with lower dimensions would still hold more power than a black person with higher dimensions just because they're white.
Great response. You see how she did that, trainer? Okay, so you know. All right, let's now go look at mine. So as I'm going to read my response out, I want you guys to see what areas in which you can increase your writing and make it better, okay? I'll read out the nature on the response. Here's what I put down, answer the same exact question. The quote stated by Tatum discussing how one's racial identity is mediated by other dimensions of self is somewhat complex to understand. Racial identity is the most salient identity marker. What does the word salient mean in last class?
Salient?
Most important. It's salient, okay? Most important. So before society sees you, for example, as a woman or heterosexual, they first see you as what? Your race, i.e. black, white, and Hispanic, or etc. Everybody get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Next part was very, very important, and I bolded it. That's how important it is. People have to mediate or come to an agreement that despite their privilege in one identity marker, it is not necessarily equate to privilege in another. That makes sense? Explain what that means, Janasia. What does that mean? I'll say it again. And everybody's in the room, kind of read it again, kind of get soaked in, and then see what I'm talking about. People have to mediate or come to an agreement that despite their privilege in one identity marker, it is not necessarily equate to privilege in another. What does that mean? Think for a second there. You got it? Raise your hand and respond. Anybody? Want to try, Eric?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Saying like, one dimension, like, it's like, you're saying like, in one dimension, they
Let's
I'm
try.
not explaining. It's like you saying like in one dimension they come to agreement on like stuff like better than like others, like better like in other dimensions.
Give me an example of the dimension.
Like rich people they like they be better understanding like than like black people. I mean like rich people
They come to better than like, better than like poor people.
Okay, you on the right track. I see what you're trying to say. Janasia, help him out a little bit.
People have to understand or come to agreement that just because, like, it don't matter your race, that doesn't mean that, like an example. Okay, so just because you're white, it's not right to give privilege to somebody that's higher dimension than you and they're not white, just because you're white.
Okay, you are all on the right track. I'm gonna show again on the screen to bring this home so we can you can fix your responses to make them better. So I mentioned last time when it comes to my race, obviously I'm black, obviously. So I'm black. Well, the top is white actually, and then black. And my sex is obviously male. Be female first. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
You ain't trying to
That should be equal actually, not one or the other. Alright, so I was just saying that my race once again is black. So racially speaking, I'm number 2 on the list as far as hierarchy, power, control, etc. But my sex though is male. So I have more power here. Even though I have more power as a male specifically, I still am disadvantaged and oppressed as a black person. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me read it again. Let's see if we can now get it and see what I'm talking about, and also Mr. Tatum as well. So Bonaparte says again, people have to mediate or come to agreement that despite their privileges or privilege in one identity marker, in my case being a male, it is not necessarily equate to privilege in another, i.e. race. That makes sense? Who's still confused? Raise your hand so I can know who's still trying to get this. This is high level stuff, so that's why it's probably difficult to look there. Yep. So I'm gonna keep my example on the screen so we can have it more visual. So when it comes to race, speaking of Mr. Evans, top of the totem pole of the hierarchy is people who are white, and the second will be black. When it comes to my sex specifically, you got male at the top and female at the bottom. So when it comes to my sex, Joe Bed, and the rest of the class, who has more privilege here? The male, obviously, right? Racially, though, has more power. People who are white. So even though I have privilege here as a male, I will always have less privilege because I'm racially black. Does that make sense? Who does not get that still? One last time, before we can move on to you fixing yours. I'll read it again so we can bring it home. So people, once again, have to mediate or come to an agreement that despite their privilege in one identity marker, it is not necessarily equated to privilege in another. Now, I added more parts to the end, specifically the race category, which Tatum argues is the most statement. What's the last part? What's more? Moreover, you'll be here one day too, one day, I'm writing a lot. Moreover, the text says on page 18, other people are the mirror in which we see ourselves. Therefore, we experience life by agreeing with the level of hierarchy and identities society gives us. For example, I am black, and that is my first identity marker that I in society see me as. Then that I'm male, which offers some privilege. However, since black is my first identity marker and society sees me as black first, I'm still a black man first despite me being higher on the sex hierarchy. I kind of went over that on the board. Kind of redundant there. So now go ahead with your response, please, and please change or add on to your response and make it better, like mine is. Take about 5 minutes for that, please, to add on and to change your response if you haven't already done so.